Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
All right, once again, we are back. I am TheMoJoKing. He is the great Mike Steph, and this is Hidden Gems Football. This episode, we are discussing the NFC North preview. And yes, I still have my Close-Up Magic shirt on. But Donnie has changed his hat. But you know what? I actually don't want to talk about your hat. I want to know, what's the painting behind you?
The painting behind me is matter of fact, one of my prized possessions. I actually debuted it a couple episodes ago. A painting from my wife. My wife just embarked on a new career endeavor, and one of the team building exercises was a sip and paint. So this is courtesy of Mrs. Oooh, for those in the know. Anytime that I'm on camera, anytime I'm out in these YouTube streets, guess what will be in YouTube streets with me? The Michelangelo.
All right. Like I said, we're discussing the NFC North. Donnie, do you have one big thing when it comes to this division?
The one big thing that I have that comes with the NFC North, the Norris division, if you will, the Green Bay Packers. Hence the hat change. But, Old Faithful is right on the side. The reason why I start out with the Green Bay Packers, of course, is near and dear to my heart, because they are entering a new era in Lambeau, a new era in Wisconsin, a new era in Cheeseland. They have a new quarterback for the first time in, I believe, 15 years, and his name is Jordan Love. Jordan Love, former first-round draft pick, who has been on the sidelines for the last 3 years, in back of Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is no longer a part of the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is a member of the New York Jets. But we're not talking about the AFC now. The Packers, to me, is a team in transition, because if you have a Hall of Fame quarterback that's been entrenched in the environment, it's been entrenched in the franchise for over a decade and a half, and you have literally built the identity around this player, and this player is no longer there, you're going to have growing pains, especially when you have a quarterback who's been on the sideline for 3 years, that you envision to lead this franchise into your next hopefully great era. Because, listen, the Green Bay Packers have had 2 quarterbacks in the last almost 30 years. Think about that. Coincidentally, both of those quarterbacks, when they ended their tenure with the Green Bay Packers, went right back to Old Faithful. Hopefully this one will be more successful than the last one. He who shall not be named, but rhymes with Arver. Yeah, him. He was there for about 15 years. And then Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Darkness Retreat himself. He left the cupboard half bare. He has a two-headed running back. He has Aaron Jones, who is their version of the Swift Army knife. And then you have the battering ram, which is A.J. Dillon. They have second-year wide receiver Christian Watson, who would be an intriguing player. Some would think, especially based on experience from last year, that maybe indirectly he might have been one of the reasons why Aaron Rodgers was so eager to get out of there, because Aaron Rodgers didn't really particularly care for developing young players, something that he is actually disproving with my Jets. But if you think about it like this, you have Christian Watson, you have Mike LaFleur Leskoska, in his 4th season as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. 3 of those seasons, well, 1, 2, actually, I think it's 5th year as the coach going into his 5th year, because 3 of those seasons he got them to the NFC Championship. Well, he got two appearances in the NFC Championship game, and then an appearance in the divisional round. I believe his record the first 2 years, he 13 wins, 12 wins, something to that effect. Last year was the only drop off, and they were still in contention to get into the postseason, the last game of the season, but they ultimately fell to the Detroit Lions. I say all that to say it is going to be a year transition. Yeah, the Packers going to be a very interesting team. Let's just say that. Let's just say that.
Jordan Love, I will say that everybody has said nothing but positive things about him. They think that he is the next one. With that said, I have more than a share of questions. The running backs are set. They look good to go. Christian Watson looked pretty good, especially for a rookie season. We're assuming he's going to step up, and step into true elite status. Maybe. He has the speed, that's for sure. Romeo Doubs, elevation, all right, maybe. They took Jaden Reed as 2nd round slot receiver. What are we expecting out of him in his rookie season? And then they have 2 rookie tight ends that they also drafted, and they're expecting things from. I don't like it. There's one thing to do a youth movement. Seems like too much youth for me. I think Jordan Love is going to have a learning curve, even if he is everything that everybody is saying that he is right now. I would like him to have a reliable veteran receiver to be out there to help. I'm a little confused as what they are doing here. Defense was pretty solid last year. I expect it to be solid again this year. They were 8-9 last season. The expected win total is 7.5. Mike Steph, what do you think? Over or under?
I'm going to go under. When I was listening to you talk about your reasons why you kind of question the direction that they're going with so much youth and no veteran presence, besides, at least on the offensive side, besides the running backs, it led me to ask a question in my head. Last year, when they had Aaron Rodgers, we come to find out that he had an injured thumb on his throwing hand, and that's maybe the reason why he struggled as much. There was a time that there was a big groundswell to allow Jordan Love to continue to play last year, pretty much play the season out. Because I think at one point in time, they were like 4-7, and they was like right on the outside fringes of elimination. And people was like, well, you're not making the playoffs. You might as well get the experience now, because it looked like at that point in time, Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be traded. Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be in another team. Aaron Rodgers was going to retire. Do you believe they would have been better served in giving him that experience last year in an ultimately lost season? So therefore, this season, he already had the experience under his belt and the chemistry with Dobbs and with Watson, and they could have hit the ground running this season? Or do you think ultimately it was in their best interest to, let him continue to see from the sideline?
That's a really interesting question. Off the top, to me, they played it right, because I think if Jordan Love looks ugly to start this season, I think to some degree, fans will just live with the growing pains. If he looked ugly last season and you have Aaron Rodgers sitting on your bench, I think that there's a good portion of fans that would want heads to roll because they would be so angry. And I didn't like their receiving core last year with the veterans. I almost feel like they're setting up a young quarterback to struggle. I think it would have been the same last year, except you'd have had Aaron Rodgers breathing over his shoulder. I'm going to kick one thing back to you. So we had Tom Brady and we had Bill Belichick. And then Tom went his separate way. And then we were like, all right, who was the master there? Was it Tom Brady? Was it Bill Belichick? Is this a similar situation? Do you think it was Aaron Rodgers, or do you think it was Matt LaFleur?
I'm going to throw a wild card in this. It was a combination of not Matt LaFleur and a combination of Aaron Rodgers paired with Nathaniel Hackett, because that is the one thing that is missing, that has been missing last season, that was consistent in the first two seasons. First two seasons, you had Matt LaFleur combined with Aaron Rodgers with Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett left before last season to become the head coach of the Denver Broncos, who we would talk about in the near future, and he was pretty much one and done. Coincidentally, Aaron Rodgers didn't have the most stellar year. Coincidentally, in the 2 years that Nathaniel Hackett was paired with Aaron Rodgers had a career resurgence and back-to-back MVPs. So, guess what has happened this year? Matt LaFleur is by his lonesome. Nathaniel Hackett has joined, or should I say, Aaron Rodgers has joined Nathaniel Hackett back in the high life again with my New York Jets. So just by the law of averages, I would say, to answer your question, it would be more Aaron Rodgers than Matt LaFleur.
So are you going over or under the 7.5?
Under.
Me too.
It got to be some stink-ass teams in this league. And shoot, the NFC South, I got everybody like 7 and above. So, yeah, we're going to have to start making a deficit up in the North.
Yeah, I'm going under. I do think that Christian Watson is going to be a very interesting look in fantasy. All right, next up is the Chicago Bears. Their offense was number 1 in the NFL in rushing and dead last in passing. It seems to me, Mike Steph, that they're building themselves a poor man's Philadelphia Eagles. Justin Fields is a quarterback is a quarterback who loves to run and is very good at it. He rushed for over 1,000 yards, and as a matter of fact, 1,143 yards and 8 touchdowns last season. He passed for only 2,242 yards, including 17 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. But he does have some help coming this year, mostly in the name of DJ Moore. In theory, it pushes down the other receivers. Darnell Mooney is coming back off of ankle surgery, and Pittsburgh reject. Pittsburgh reject. I don't know. I'm just going to stick with reject. Chase Claypool now becomes a third option.
That was harsh, though. Reject.
It is. I can't think of a better word for it. Former prospect. There we go. Baseball.
He must have cost you some bread in fantasy or something. Reject.
I did draft that guy a lot last year.
How
and, yeah. So yeah, you caught me. I'm a little bitter. Last year, they were 3-14. Interestingly enough, they started out 3-4 and then lost 10 straight games to close out the season. Their expected win total. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. They also gave up the most points in the NFL last year. So defense was kind of lacking as well. Their expected win total is 7.5, though. So Vegas is expecting a turnaround for them. And you can see how they're setting it up. But I have to ask you, Mike Steph, what do you think of the Chicago Bears in the 2023 season?
It's interesting that you kind of compared them and said they're being built as a poor man's Philadelphia Eagles. I can see that comparison. I can also see a comparison of being built as a poor man's Baltimore Raven team, which primarily centers around the running game, the running backs, a running quarterback. The Bears, to me, are interesting. DJ Moore, to me, is infamous for what didn't he? Which one? Didn't he have a silly penalty last year that cost Carolina the game? I think against the Atlanta Falcons, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was like a boneheaded play, and if you think about it, literally it cost them. It ended up costing them a playoff berth. If you think about it. So to have him on the team, talent notwithstanding, like I don't know how much of I don't know how much of an upgrade that is. It's almost like you added a bonehead to go along with Chase Claypool. Because Chase Claypool did something similar. I think when he was with Pittsburgh, I want to say not last season before last, they were trying to do a two minute offense, and it was like under 2 minutes to go, and he caught a first down, and instead of him just going back to the line so he could spike the ball, he's so busy doing the first down sign that they end up. These are the players that you choose to surround Justin Fields with, or literally one of his most important years ever. Because year 3 for the quarterback is supposed to be the year, unfortunately, make or break in most instances. It's the year before you have to make the decision on whether you're going to invest in them and get them an extension, or you're going to let them play out that 4th year and go into a walk year into 5th year, or you're going to franchise tag them. It's a very pivotal year. If the coaching staff is intelligent and smart, they would concentrate on Mooney, because just by name alone, he should be single covered because they got DJ Moore and they got Chase Claypool, but he's actually the one that's really produced, at least with it's a known fact that he produced with Justin Fields. You have the 2-headed tight end now, so that could kind of still loosen up the middle of the field. But to me, it's almost like fool's gold that Justin Fields had such a breakout year running the ball, because how many times do you want to put your quote-unquote franchise quarterback in harm's way? The over-under is, what, 7.5?
7.5, yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to go under again. I don't think strides have been made that much that it's going to take them from a 3-14 team to an extra. Pretty much, you're asking them to win an extra 5 games. I don't see the influx of talent on this team that gives them a 5-game improvement. And this is coming from the vibe guy that I'm actually using math. Like, there's no way. X plus Y does not equal Z in this equation. It would be a successful season if Justin Fields takes that ultimate next step. And you can visualize, okay, we tried to put this around them. Maybe the pieces don't fit perfectly, or maybe we're still missing a couple pieces, but the main piece that we have in Justin Fields is the correct guy. Or do we have to go back to the drawing board? To me, that would be a sign of success, not so much the win total. Because right now, like I said, based on math and based on just looking at it, like, yeah, I don't see them winning 8 games. I don't see them winning 5 extra games.
I will push back against you slightly in that I actually think that 10-game losing streak, I think they're a better team than that. So when they were 3-4 in the beginning of the season, I think that's more indicative of the type of level of team that I think they are. I'm just not sure if Justin Fields is ever going to be a quality NFL starter. You know, I did compare them to Philadelphia, but I don't think Justin Fields is Jalen Hurts. Obviously, he's not that now. I don't know if he will ever be anything close to that. I don't think DJ Moore is A.J. Brown. And I don't know if I think the combination of Mooney and Claypool are Devontae Smith. What I think is going to happen here is I think they're going to play a bunch of close games all season. I don't trust Justin Fields to take them down in the last 2 minutes and score and get a scoring touchdown. Like, I just don't see it. So if I had to go with 7-5, 7.5 games, I'd probably go under. This is another thing I'm just not going to bet because I think there's going to be a bunch of close games that may come down to, just a little bit.
Are you ready to step up your style without compromising the planet? Introducing the exciting partnership between Blueview Footwear and the 19 Media Group Network. Just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 to start your sustainable style journey. Our friends over at Blueview Footwear are renowned for introducing the world's first fully biodegradable sneaker. By using plant-based plastics, they are leading a revolution in cleaner materials and manufacturing. They have sleek and contemporary styles that cater to a wide range of tastes. Blueview Footwear believes that fashion and sustainability can coexist harmoniously. Explore their incredible collection of eco-friendly footwear by visiting bit.ly/Blueview19. If you let us know you made a purchase, we'll shout you out on our next show. Again, just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 today, and you'll see the ultimate collaboration of fashion, sustainability, and media excellence.
All right. Up next, the team that became America's team, forget the Cowboys, became America's team last year, and that's the Detroit Lions.
Oh, okay.
You didn't know where I was going, right?
Sure, I thought you were talking about the Vikings. Vikings ain't no white team. Shoot, even Kirk Cousins doesn't even like him.
We're talking about the Detroit Lions here, coached by Dan Campbell, QB'd by Jared Goff, who had a very solid season. I like to point out that they drafted Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round. He's coming off a torn ACL, so he might be the quarterback of the future in year 2 or 3. They grabbed David Montgomery from the Bears, and then drafted themselves a running back, 12th overall, Jahmyr Gibbs, shocking a lot of the NFL community with that early grab of a running back. The wide receiver core comes back intact with the asterisk. Jameson Williams is a beast. Maybe he will be a beast in the final 11 games of the season, but he will not be there for the first 6 because of gambling suspension. Amon-Ra St. Brown, solid receiver. Marvin Jones also returns. Their defense had gave up the 28th most points in the league last year, but they were a high-flying offense. Last year they were 9-8. Their wins expected this year are 9.5. So basically the same season. Mike Steph, what do you think about the Detroit Lions this year?
That's interesting. People forget that. They started 1-6. And that's why fans gravitated to them, because at 1-6 could have been easy just to look at Dan Campbell, think he's just nothing but shtick. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The team could have disintegrated. But they ended the season on an 8-2 run. It took Seattle in the last game of the season for Detroit to not make the playoffs. Not only that, but more importantly, last season, the very last game of the season, because it was Sunday Night Football, Detroit came into that game knowing they were already eliminated for the playoffs. They literally had nothing to play for. Green Bay had everything to play for because it was a winning-in scenario for Green Bay. And you know what happened? Detroit went to Green Bay, went to Lambeau Field, the slightly frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, and stomped Green Bay out and kept them out the playoffs. To me, that victory solidified whatever positivity that Dan Campbell had accrued during the season. It solidified his hold over the locker room. And to me, it gave that team momentum that they followed up on in the offseason with their pickup, in the offseason with the draft that they had, and ultimately into this upcoming season. So, do I believe that Detroit is a 10-win team? Yeah. If they can just improve just a smidgen above being terrible on defense, their offense has already proven for a long stretch of last season that they're not the problem. They're not the problem at all. And unless Jared Goff takes a major step back, I really don't see many teams being able to keep up with them offensive-wise. So if they could if Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, coincidentally, former cornerback of the New York Jets. I told y'all that every division has some type of 6 degree of separation from my New York Jets. Yeah, I snuck that one in. You didn't see that one coming, did you?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I had that in the tuck. But yeah, if Aaron Glenn can get a little bit more out of that defensive unit, they won 9 games last year. This year, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because people are going to see them coming. But once again, they're in the NFC. They can't win 10 games in the NFC. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, over.
I see everything you said. I definitely see how that works out. I think Jared Goff's going to regress. I don't think he's as good as he looked in that 8-2 run. Jameson Williams being out those 6 games, I think is really going to hurt them in the beginning of the season. It's interesting that they revamped their running backs after having a pretty strong season there. But for me, it all comes down to I think that their defense will be a little bit better. I think Jared Goff will be a little bit worse. I don't see an 8-2 exactly. I don't see an 8-2 run happening, but I also don't see that. What was it? 1-6? You said
1-6.
I also don't think I see that happening, even with Williams out. I think they're going to go 9-8 again, and I think they'll just miss the playoffs this game.
You know what's so interesting? Because when you were saying you were talking about Williams, Jameson Williams, and that would hurt him. And at first I was like, well, shoot, they were 9-8, and he missed the majority of the first half of the season last year with an injury from college. But then I thought about it, and I looked at they were 1-6 at the very beginning of the season. So therefore, Jameson Williams did indeed help that offense when he returned. But yeah, 9-8, 10-7. Yeah, I know it's only a sliver of a hair, but it's 9.5. So pretty much you got to go over or under. He went under. I went over. It seems like that's a reoccurring theme. I take the high road. He take the low road, or vice versa. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just kicking everybody. Kicking everybody down, especially Chase Claypool. But we have the Minnesota Vikings. They were 13-4, maybe the most disappointing 13-4 ever. They won the division, and then they got steamrolled by the Giants. But anyway, the team is pretty much intact. Kirk Cousins is on the final years of his contract. They decided not to offer him an extension. They got rid of Dalvin Cook, who's one of my all-time favorites. Alexander Madison takes over there. But what's important that they do still have is Justin Jefferson. The man received 1,809 yards and 8 touchdowns. Thielen is gone. They're going to rely more on KJ Osborne, most likely. And they drafted in the first round a wide receiver, Jordan Addison, who is known for his precise route running and also known for driving 140 miles per hour. He got a ticket.
Not good.
The offensive line is all returning, so they should be solid there. The defense, they've replaced all 3 cornerbacks. One of the most impressive signings for them was Byron Murphy out of Arizona. Now, the Vikings did need some help as they were ranked 30th in the NFL as far as points scored against. They were 13-4 last season. This season, according to Covers.com, their projected win total is 8.5. Oh, I forgot to mention their new defensive coordinator. I hope you will get into that a little bit. What do you think about the Minnesota Vikings this season?
Not much. Not much at all. Their defensive coordinator is the one and only Brian Flores, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, former defensive coordinator of New England Patriots, former staff member from last year on the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was on Mike Tomlin's staff while his I believe his court case against the NFL is still pending. The Vikings were pretty much last or second last in defense. They're switching from a scheme which is more of a zone-friendly scheme to a more aggressive scheme because that's what Brian Flores does. He's going to rush the passer. He's going to play to win the game. The over-under, to a certain degree, doesn't surprise me. Do you know last season, out of those 13 wins, 11 of those wins were in one-score games? That means that 13-4, and if you want to include the playoffs, 13-5 record could have very easily been like 5-13. Well, 5-12, because they wouldn't have been 13, because guess what? They would not have made the playoffs. Justin Jefferson, by him getting 1,800 yards, which my eyes just like, damn, I mean, I knew he was dominant. I didn't realize he was that dominant. Imagine if he takes one step back, and not even saying he's having a bad year, but just like not the phenomenal year that he had last year. And it's possible because we don't believe in Kirk Cousins, and we're going to double team Justin Jefferson every play of the game. How many wins you think they're going to get? KJ Osborne, like you said, he's a good receiver. He's shown to be a competent receiver. Will he be able to take up the slack? They let go of Dalvin Cook because I guess they thought he was washed. I don't think so. But yeah, 8.5 wins. I will go under. Because there's a reason why a team with no heir apparent in the quarterback position has not even offered their current franchise quarterback any type of continuation of his career in Minnesota. Because, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, Kirk Cousins is the master finesser. Because for someone to amass the amount of money that he has amassed for pretty much playing average football, I mean, what has he ever won a game? I think he's 0 forever in nighttime games, isn't he? I believe so. Because that's why I knew they wasn't going to win that postseason game, because it started at 4:30, but it was going to end about 8 o'clock. Once that sun went down, especially in the wintertime, when the sun went down, he's like the opposite of a vampire. You know how the vampire just like disintegrates in the sunlight? He just shrivels up. As soon as the sun go down, no light. He's gone. So yeah, I say all that under the ground for the Minnesota Vikings. Get the hell up out of here.
Well, you know what? I did not check the schedule to see how many night games they're playing this year.
Sure doesn't matter. Even if you did, just press 0 for all of
them. I don't like what they did at running back. I don't know if I think Madison is going to be able to be a bell cow. I kind of don't believe it. But you know who I kind of do trust? The same guy you were just ripping. I like Kirk Cousins in a contract year. Because I think Kirk Cousins just wants to yell, "You like that?" one more time. So I think that Kirk Cousins, not that I think he's a stellar quarterback, I think he finds a way to win enough games to get over the 8.5. See, I finally went over with somebody. And I'm hitching my wagon to Kirk Cousins out of all people.
This is going to be interesting because when I go high, he go low. When I go low, he go high. Just in this instance, there's no way in hell I'm hitching my wagon. I get the mindset, because I say he's the ultimate finesse for a reason, because it kind of leads to what you're saying. Contract year, he's going to finesse somebody into giving him some more bread next year. I don't think this is his swan song, but I just for the fact that they got literally lucky last year in a lot of ways, I don't think lightning is going to strike twice, but yeah, look, I give you credit. Shoot, you're going to round those wagons, hopefully you won't end up homeless messing around with Kirk Cousins.
Cousins we trust. All right, Mr. Mike Steph, take us out.
Okay. That has been, this one has been even a more improved edition of the masses' favorite. We're a little bit unorthodox, but that's what brings y'all back for more, because I want to figure out what the hell are these two guys going to come up with next. There's only one way to find out, and that is to tune in next week. So, another edition of Down in the Books, Hidden Gems Football. Yeah, I did it in reverse. It's a part of the 19 Media Group. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. This mustache will be gone too.
Oh yeah, and this pack of hat gone. So is my hair.
Perfect.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
This week, we're going to preview the NFC South. It's the NFC North,
Ticker.
right? Yep.
Ticker.
And I'm getting hungry now, so I'm just going to be mad at the NFC North. These guys stuck everybody under.
I kind of blew my load because of just things. But yeah, Mo, do you have anything else to say? Add to that. Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Blew your loads, huh? All right. What are we talking about here?